Hi all, and welcome to Night Rips. So, as I mentioned last video, is that whenever I was going to cut another one of these videos, one of the things I wanted to do is get one of the reprints, since we did find one of the Nolan Ryan from the 1991, which is going to be, again, what we're going to open this time. But this is actually, in this case, so one of these cards is original, and one of these cards is a reprint. And I did notice that there is a little bit difference. Obviously, one card's a little bit darker than the other one, and then the border's a little bit different. The one on the my left here, the one I'm moving, actually looks a little shinier on the bottom one. The one on the right, not so much. And if you're wondering, of course, this one's also, it's got silver. This one looks more gold. So if you're wondering which one is which, I'll try to turn it so you can actually see the gold, even though you're going to see a little bit of shine on them. If you're wondering which ones are which, you have to look on the back, and you realize that this one is actually the reprint, hence the word reprint right here. This is actually the original. So it's interesting that you would think that they would have made the reprint gold, but no, the original is the one that's gold. So very, very, very interesting. But as you see, the design's exactly the same. Print, like I said, it's not quite, it's a little bit darker on the reprint, but that's fine too. That could honestly just be this edition whenever they printed it, because there is always a little bit of color differences between cards. But let's go ahead and get back to see if we can pull any more. I know Cal Ripken's one of the cards that you could have pulled. Ken Griffey Jr. is a card that was another one that they reprinted from this year. There was other years, if you look at the Chipper Jones, there was 2 versions of Chipper Jones, but those actually occurred later, and you could really tell because of the design variation, or the design that they actually did at the bottom of the card. But the Chipper, the Ricky Henderson, some of those totally different designs, so those we won't find in this pack. We may find a version of them, but it won't be the one that they reprinted. They tried to reprint the ones that were more iconic. So let's go ahead, let's rip these open and see what other cards we can find, since we don't want to just sit there and look at a reprint of a video that we posted earlier. We want to see what we can find new. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get to the middle card. Of course, the middle card is always going to be one of 2. In this case, it's one of the club membership, the way you got members' choice cards. What they weren't case hits like they are today. And we'll go ahead and just go through these cards, see if we can find any of the iconics. There's Dan Pleesak, who was known as a good pitcher, but also now he's actually a commentator. I think if you're newer on this planet than I am, you probably remember Pleesak more as a commentator than a actual pitcher. It's Bob Walk. Talked about him many times. Oh, and unfortunately, this one, definitely the edge. You got some edge problems on this one, which is not surprising. This box and these packs are 30 years old, so there might have been a little bit of rattling around, especially if if the cards kind of stuck out on the side a little bit, which some of them do. I'm noticing every one of these, it's more of a gold color. So I am really surprised that this year they actually went with a silver. I mean, I could understand for their base cards, but you'd think they'd been closer when it came to the reprints. But maybe it's just the same ink. I don't know what Topps does. And once again, if you hear my dog snoring, for whatever reason, every time I decide to cut one of these videos, she goes in the little cubby hole I have for her, and she decides to go to sleep. So she's one of my biggest fans. Oh, there's Greg Maddux. Of course, as a Cubs, I know him more as a Brave because he was part of that 1995 World Series winning team. Last time the Braves won. Okay, let's open the second pack. Again, there's nothing we are chasing in this. You know, there was no inserts. It was, in this case, 300 cards, all base. So that's why you're not seeing any crazy pulls. It just everything to create one base set. There's a cup membership again. There's Von Hayes again. Definitely seeing some duplication, which they really didn't care about. This was a retail box. This wasn't like a hobby box where, you know, one person was buying the whole thing. You know, it only happens now. You know, the retail packs, you know, the hanger packs and whatnot, of course, right now they're so hard to find. But you tend to not find as many in, you know, either a blaster box or a retail like you did back then, because in this case, these boxes would be sitting on the counter at your local store, and you would just, you know, buy a pack or two. Probably not much more than that. Let's try to see if that might be the image, it might be the card, I don't know. Yeah, you probably didn't buy that much of this because this did cost like $1 or $2 a pack, and in 1991, you know, that's not cheap. Especially if you're a kid collecting it, you know, convincing your mom and dad to give you a couple bucks per pack was a little bit hard. Sticky Thon. I know even back in the day, oh, here you go, there's Larry Walker. There's a Hall of Famer. It's actually it'd be his second year because we did pull his 1990 rookie out of Upper Deck. And Greg Brock. I know back in the day, I was fortunate. My dad knew a distributor, and I could get one of these retail boxes roughly at cost. So, you know, I would open up the entire box with all the little pink bubble gum because I was big on collecting tops. But, you know, other than that, most of the packs, I didn't really buy a lot of the packs, the wax packs, and those would go from, we'll say, 30 cents, 40 cents. You know, I would buy most of my cards was done in hanger, you know, the rack packs. And those cases, I don't remember ever seeing rack packs that would have dupes in it, because it was just, you know, they would just pull whatever cards off the line, and they typically, unless you had cards that would stick together, you wouldn't have duplicates. Now, I would never say never, because even in you know, one of my videos, you'll see that I did pull a back-to-back duplicate. Oh, we got two cards that decided to really stay together here. I'm trying to give them apart, not damage them. Which is good because that's a cool shot. Sammy Sosa. And Sammy Sosa, this would also be his second year because 1990 Upper Deck. Let me see. Actually, no. This is 1991. His Topps 1991 debut was right here. So that would put this, obviously not his rookie card because he came a little bit later, but that's his first year. So that's actually pretty cool. I'm going to put that to the side. And there's another slugger. Well, back-to-back. Unfortunately, back-to-back players that got tagged with the whole Peds thing. But there's Barry Bonds. These packs I want to stick together a little bit more. And who's Barry? What year did Barry Bonds? So Barry Bonds was actually out of the 1986 and 86 traded set. So I have to look. I think that might be one of the tradeds I'm missing. But that's cool. So Barry Bonds in his yearbook photo. Put him to the side. Jeff Hewson. There's Billy Ripken. There's Cal Ripken's brother. I would hate to be known as Cal Ripken's brother, or whoever's brother. There's Tino Martinez. There's another young slugger. Definitely remember him more as a Yankee, but he was with the Mariners for a number of years. All right, these are definitely sticking a little bit more, and I wonder if that might be a problem of being a little deeper in the box. So I'll put you to the side here. Oh, that's a cool shot. Love the stirrup socks. BJ Surhoff looks like he's sliding. Oh, looky here. This was a real good box because there's Ken Griffey Jr. He's yet another one of the reprints that they did this year. And much like when I found Nolan Ryan, I think I'm going to create a little shrine of all the old and new so we can see the differences. But yeah, can't complain when you get the kid. Definitely another great, and of course, I don't remember, I think that might be another one. It's George Brett. I know there was another George Brett card. I don't remember if it was 1 or 2. So, again, I'm going to have to go back and look before I post the next video. If it's, I know they have the one version he's with his bats, but it's not this version. Because the borders on it's black, it's not this blue. But I'll have to go look and see if they actually reprinted this one too, because I kind of remember this one. I don't know. Let's go and look. And Terry Shumpert. So that was cool. Definitely found some interesting ones in that pack. Matter of fact, that pack was the pack that I would have bought. That would have been a nice one. So every one of those are great cards. Well, to me, every one of the cards is great cards because I want to get the whole set. I'm not going to cherry pick, but if I only had the one, that would have been it. Okay, so we got the bar system. How to read the stats, basically. There we go. Oh, Carlton Fisk. All wearing the 1919 style Chicago White Sox cap. He's definitely another one of the Hall of Famers. There's Ron Darling. The nice thing is, even though these are sticking a little bit, it's not doing any damage to the cards, and they do come apart pretty easy. I do sometimes get cards that might not even be as old, but definitely has a problem coming apart. So these don't have that much. It's just I'm trying to be very cautious and not damage the edges. Dale Hamilton. Bob Welch. So it does take me a little bit longer to pull these cards apart. So if you don't want to listen to me, you can speed up the video a little bit. It's Mike Greenwell. Big Boston guy. Okay. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if you're not listening to me ramble. Oh, there's the Big Hurt. Frank Thomas. That guy could slug. Yeah, sometimes I don't even want to hear myself ramble. And obviously you can hear my dog in the background, which she don't care. We got here, Glenn Braggs. I know there's a Barry Larkin that I'm looking for too, but I'm not sure what number he is in this set. Jack Daughtry. I think I've got one left, yeah. And that would be Bart Blevin. Alright, well that was actually, this time was actually a pretty cool opening. You know, to start off, you know, getting a Ken Griffey Jr. Of course, that is definitely a reprint. Where this one's not. This is the original. But, you know, in this year's Topps Stadium Club, they did reprint that card, and I'm going to go see if I can track it down. Two sluggers that probably will not be in the hall, or they might not. They'll be in the hall later. Probably post them not being with us anymore. You know, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa. Two guys that, you know, he's still not allowed to go to Wrigley. For it's sad because he never admitted to anything. And then of course Barry Bonds is Barry Bonds. And you know, it is sad that he felt he had to do that. Definitely got Mr. Royals himself, George Brett, which again, there was a George Brett reprint this year. I don't remember if there was two. This was the one was him with his bat, kind of like the Ken Griffey Jr. sort of. I've got to look to see if this one might have been a reprint too. And then of course, and I know him because, you know, growing up in Tampa, you know, he is a Tampa guy. Remembering him as a Mariner, then a Yankee, then he came to the Devil Rays for a little bit before he went to the Yankees to retire. So Tino Martinez. So this was a fun one. Went a little bit longer because, you know, again, pulling the cards apart does take a little bit of time. And then what's nice is you'll find they do move really easy after you're done. But, you know, finding 5 legends, actually even more, but, you know, the 5 legends that I called out, this was actually a fun rip. So if you like this, make sure you go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I will be putting up more videos. Again, I'm only maybe halfway done with this box. We got a lot more Stadium Club to go. Got a lot more years of Stadium Club to go. So, you know, join me on this quest to see if I can complete, or how many of the years I can complete. Fingers crossed I can do them all, but that's going to take a long time. If you got any comments, make sure you post it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And as always, I appreciate you watching. And until next time, bye now.